Imagine a drug bust so massive it's like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. Welcome to the reality of Project Moffet. This was no ordinary law enforcement operation. The scale of this bust was so colossal that it's almost hard to wrap your mind around it. In the heart of Ontario, Canada, a staggering $250 million worth of narcotics was seized. Just try to visualize it for a moment. Over 1,000 kilograms of pure cocaine. That's about the weight of a small car. 47 kilograms of methamphetamine, enough to keep a small city awake for weeks. 7 kilograms of the deadly opioid fentanyl, enough to endanger millions of lives. And that's not even the complete list. But the haul didn't stop at narcotics. There was also a significant amount of cold, hard cash seized. Bundles of currency that were the ill-gotten gains of a vast criminal network. And then there were the firearms, not just a few handguns or rifles, but a cache of weapons that could equip a small army. This was a bust of epic proportions, a blow to the criminal underworld that left it reeling. The sheer scale of Project Moffet is enough to leave anyone awestruck. It's a testament to the tireless work of law enforcement agencies, a symbol of their unyielding fight against the drug trade. When you think of a drug bust, you might picture a handful of officers, a stash of drugs, maybe some cash. But Project Moffet was on a whole different level. It was a monumental operation, one that required extensive planning, relentless pursuit, and a commitment to making communities safer. So the next time you hear about a drug bust on the news, remember Project Moffet. Remember the scale of this operation. Remember the impact it had. Because this was not an ordinary drug bust, it was a monumental operation that shook the criminal underworld. The seed of Project Moffet was planted when the Ontario police noticed an alarming increase in drug-related crimes. This was a time when the tranquility of Ontario was being threatened, and the police knew they had to act decisively. It was clear that this was no ordinary case, and it demanded a response that was just as extraordinary. Thus, the idea of Project Moffet was born. A special task force was formed, comprised of the most dedicated and skilled officers in the force. Their objective was clear: to dismantle the drug trafficking network that was poisoning their community. The initial stages of Project Moffet were marked by careful surveillance and intelligence gathering. Every movement was monitored, every transaction was scrutinized. The team had to be patient, diligent, and most importantly, discreet. Any premature action could spook the traffickers and send them into hiding, making the task even more challenging. The task force spent countless nights studying patterns, establishing links, and identifying key players in the network. They delved into the labyrinth of the drug underworld, a world that operated under the cloak of darkness and thrived on fear and desperation. But the team was undeterred. They knew that their mission was bigger than themselves. They were not just fighting crime. They were protecting their community, their families, their future. They had to be meticulous in their planning, leaving no stone unturned. Every piece of information was crucial. Every lead was precious. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the pieces of the puzzle started falling into place. The task force was closing in on the network. They could almost taste the success, but they also knew that the toughest part was yet to come. Behind the scenes, a storm was brewing, ready to uproot a significant drug trafficking network. The stage was set and the task force was ready to strike. They knew their mission was far from over, but they were ready for the challenge. For them, this was more than just a job. It was a duty, a responsibility, a commitment to justice. And they were ready to see it through to the end. As the pieces fell into place, the net began to close in on the unsuspecting criminals. The gears were in motion, the stage was set, and the operation was ready to unfold. The task force, a well-oiled machine of justice, moved with a precision that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. This wasn't just a simple arrest operation. It was a takedown of a significant drug trafficking network. The stakes were high, and the danger was palpable. The operation was a carefully planned dance, each step meticulously choreographed. The task force moved in on the drug traffickers, their every move calculated to ensure success and minimize unnecessary risks. It was a symphony of justice in action. As the operation unfolded, the arrests began. One by one, the unsuspecting criminals were rounded up, their illicit activities brought to an abrupt end. The surprise on their faces was unmistakable, a clear indication of the success of the operation's covert nature. The task force worked tirelessly, their efforts unyielding until every individual involved was in custody. But the operation didn't end with the arrests. The task force then turned their attention to the drugs, the physical manifestation of the harm these criminals had intended to inflict on society. The drugs seized were staggering in their volume, a stark reminder of the scale of the operation and the potential disaster that had been averted. Each bag of drugs seized was a testament to the hard work and dedication of the task force. It was a victory, not just for them, but for the entire community. The operation had not only taken down a significant drug trafficking network, but also potentially saved countless lives. In a brilliantly executed operation, the police had struck a major blow to the drug underworld. And so the curtain fell on this chapter of Project Moffet, leaving behind a powerful message: crime doesn't pay, and justice always finds a way. The dust settled, revealing the full scale of the operation's success. As the last vestiges of Project Moffet's operation receded, a clearer picture of its impact began to emerge. The repercussions were profound, both on the local drug trade and in the broader context of Canada's ongoing struggle against drug trafficking. The aftermath was testament to the operation's meticulous planning and execution. Dozens of individuals were apprehended, their illicit operations brought to a screeching halt. The streets of Ontario were suddenly a lot safer. The grip of drug trade weakened considerably. But the ramifications of Project Moffet were not confined to Ontario alone. The operation served as a stark reminder to the rest of the country. It underscored the fact that the fight against drugs was far from over. It was a wake-up call to those who had become complacent, lulled into a false sense of security by the relative quiet. Project Moffet was more than just a drug bust. It was a beacon of hope for communities ravaged by the drug trade. A beacon that illuminated the path towards a drug-free society. It was a powerful statement, resonating across the country, that the law enforcement agencies were committed to eradicating this menace from our society. The impact was felt most strongly in the hearts and minds of the Canadian people. It renewed their faith in the system. It gave them hope that, despite the odds, victory was possible. However, it also served as a reminder that the fight against drugs was not a sprint, but a marathon. Every drug bust, every arrest, every conviction was a step forward, but there was still a long road ahead. Project Moffet wasn't just a drug bust. It was a powerful statement in the war against drugs. It was the embodiment of a nation's determination to reclaim its streets from the clutches of the drug trade. It was a testament to the courage and resolve of those who risk their lives every day to keep us safe. It was a call to arms, a rallying cry for all Canadians to stand united in this fight. For the war against drugs is a war we must all fight together.